Hey everybody, and welcome back to Dude's Brunch, your late night morning talk show. I'm your host, Taylor Olmstead, and on this show, we talk about our breakfast food and our lunch food, or whatever we define brunch as. We're not going to discriminate against your definition of brunch. Tyler Reed, you're here with us this fine evening. What did you eat in the morning hours?
We even talk about our disdain for brunch. Anyway, so today for brunch, I had something different. Oh, I went to Revolution Revolution. It's like a chicken place, and so I had the Jackie Robinson, which is a pita sandwich with rotisserie chicken, bacon, smoked Gouda, tater tot hash, and spicy maple syrup. Ooh, so spicy.
That sounds delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And also hipster as fuck.
It is. Good.
It's a pretty hipstery place.
That makes me miss getting chicken and waffles in Athens.
Oh, chicken waffle sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
Can I have a bite of that, Shaun?
You can have the whole thing, my love.
Oh.
That came out.
The best part about that is that Shaun's girlfriend Sarah is sitting directly behind him and just turned very strangely towards him as he said that. Shaun, what did you have for brunch today?
I just had coffee.
Living the dream.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
I didn't have any more breakfast sandwiches, so I just made do with what I had. We did have pancakes yesterday, so that's nice. That's a good weekend tradition that we still got going on.
Nice.
I like that tradition. I almost made pancakes this weekend, but then I didn't. So for brunch this morning, I had coffee and banana bread because I baked some banana bread this weekend.
Oh, we're going to do that this week.
See, Shaun reignited my love of banana bread when one night he and I had drunk banana bread, which is arguably the best kind of banana bread.
Was that when I was living with Sarah and we had the processing blender?
No, that was when you were living with Charlie and
okay.
Ben was asleep in the fetal position on your couch.
Okay. Oh my god. That's the best way to up your banana bread game. We have like a processing blender and like just pulverize it. Like I don't even mix it with a spoon anymore. I just like annihilate everything into like a watery mass. And then I'll underbake it in the oven. Oh my god. Dude, it is the best. It's like crusty, beautiful, soft like outside and then like underbaked bread in the middle. Put that in the refrigerator and then like just put it on the stove top, grill it real quick, put some butter on that. Oh my god, it's gonna change your relationship with bread.
This week on Baking with Shaun. But no, seriously, how I've upped my banana bread game recently is I buy the frozen raspberries from Kroger and then just defrost those and mix them into the batter. And the tartness of the raspberries with the sweetness of the bread, A+.
So it's banana raspberry bread?
It is banana raspberry bread.
Right.
I used to make
clarification.
I feel like in graduate school I used to make like a loaf of banana bread a week or something. Like at one point I was just giving it away to people. Like
You kind of were.
I would go to like other offices dropping off mail and I'd be like, do you like banana bread? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, here, I'm going to bring you back a half of a loaf next time because I'm never going to eat it.
I just don't understand. It's like, I feel like...
See, Tyler, it was one of the few things that Shaun could cook while he was drunk. And so we would start drinking.
You
and
make
then
it sound
get
like I'm
hungry.
such a big problem. Like,
No.
I say like, oh yeah, I made a loaf a week. And Shaun used to make this. He was drunk. Like,
It wasn't like that, but it was like bananas were cheap and we always had them around. And so we would be drinking and then we didn't want to go out for food because it was cold. So we just baked banana bread.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like that it's so random. I wouldn't expect it to like, that's like nothing I would ever be like, no, that's the ideal food to eat or make when you're drunk. Like,
it soaks it up. It soaks it up, man.
Yeah. It is a little bit LOLXD random though, you're right.
Right. I mean, let's you can take out like the XD. I mean, it's just probably just LOL random.
And on that note, let's get into some follow-up.
Oh man, time for some downers.
Oh. So as we mentioned in the episode last week, we didn't know at the time of recording that the election was going to turn out the way it did. And so we all joked about a popular vote electoral college split. That happened.
But in reverse, in the worst possible way.
When we were putting together the notes for this week's show, we had kind of thought about just doing like lighthearted, cute animals and shit. And Tyler put a bunch of pictures of otters in the Slack, and it pretty much made my Wednesday. It was about the only good thing that happened on Wednesday.
My side topic for this episode was going to be just animals, specifically like lions and tigers, messing around with pumpkins. And so if we really needed that extra shot of joy, you know, it's going to be there for us.
We also mentioned, or I mentioned, some World Star Hip Hop videos of voter suppression. Turns out we didn't need voter suppression videos. We just needed election results meltdown videos. Lots of protesting and lots of violence this week. There were lots of cute pictures of dogs and otters in my life. I don't know about you guys.
I love otters. I can use an otter any time of the day. Good mood, bad mood. Just give me some otters.
Just as long as they're not like it's not a photo of them like devouring a fish, because then it gets creepy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but other than that, you know, if they're just hanging out, it's a good time. Now, the real question on everyone's mind is, what camp are you in? Are you in team ocean otter or river otter? That's the end-all be-all question here.
I don't want to pick. I know that's a cop-out answer, but I love all otters.
I think America is divided enough right now that we do not need to be thinking about the distinctions between our otters.
Well, that was two distinct non-answers. That's fine.
Otters trump hate. That's what I say.
That is true.
Hashtag otters trump hate.
For the purposes of just for general conversation, I would say the key point of ocean otters is that they hold hands, and that's very cute. Although I would say they overall don't have that they're not as cute like a cat cute. They're more like a bear cute. They're a little more fuzzier.
Okay.
Whereas river otters, they like play around with like rocks and stuff, and are more feline, like more weasel like, which is also its own brand of cute. So
how can you choose?
I feel like I'm pretty solidly in river otter now, but I had a stuffed ocean otter as a child, so I was ocean otter for a long time.
I'm gonna have to go with ocean otter because I imagine if they look like bears, they probably have beards, and that reminds me of myself. And I relate to things that remind me of myself. So,
see, I like river otters because I like the playfulness. They remind me of puppies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cute little water puppies.
Yeah, exactly. They're like little water puppies. In other follow-up, we mentioned on a previous show the Martha Stewart Snoop Dogg collaborative cooking show. This officially launched this week, proving that there is no bridge we cannot cover in this country if Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg can work together to have a fried chicken cooking competition, which I kid you not was the pilot of their cooking show on VH1. Martha Stewart tweeted this evening a picture of a sign outside of a restaurant that has the two of them on it. The sign says, "Find the ones who line up with your jagged edges. That's where the magic happens." Her tweet says, Street art is sometimes so very apropos. Snoop says this is, quote, so dope. We'll put a link to this in the show notes, but I am just so happy that this television show exists and is bringing America together. So this week's main topic, I kind of wanted to do a little bit of what those in the biz would call follow out, following up to another person's podcast. I want to follow up to a conversation on Accidental Tech Podcast this week, which was follow up to an episode of Hypercritical from years and years and years ago. And we'll kind of mix in some new news with this discussion. But this is an idea that John Siracusa had a while ago that he calls the naked robotic core. And the basic idea is that technology products, and especially Apple products right now, seem to be coming out as very minimalist objects that you can then add cases or add accessories or add other pieces and parts to them to make them into whatever you want them to be. Kind of like those modular cell phones that everybody was talking about for a while that haven't fully hit the market yet, but in like a lower tech version. And so on ATP this week, they were talking about the new MacBook Pro and how it only has USB-C ports. It doesn't have a separate power plug or a separate SD card slot or anything. Yeah, plural.
Okay.
The 13-inch has 2 or 3 of them, and the 15-inch has 4. And so on the one hand, you have to buy all new cables and dongles, but on the other hand, any port on the computer can be used for anything. So you can plug a charger into any of the ports, you can plug a monitor into any of the ports. All of the ports can be all of the things.
I mean, and then that's like the defense against, you need a bunch of dongles, but I mean...
But you only have to buy the dongles that you personally need. And so I kind of want to talk about this as like a design concept, because we're seeing this more in phones and tablets and everything right now. Like, everything seems very bare bones, minimum number of ports, minimum number of buttons, so that you can kind of turn it into what you want it to be. And I don't know how I feel about that, so... What do you guys think?
I think if those block phones eventually take off, I think I would definitely be like one of the first people in line to sort of get one of those, because I think that there's definitely something. It's not a one-size-fits-all situation. Like, for example, I really don't use the camera on my phone very much, and if I had the option if I could like take some like dollars off my phone to just not have a camera on it, that'd be fine. You know, like, I feel like, do you want an audio jack? Here, have one. You know, like, I think that's, if we can get to that point, I think we'll be in a really good spot in technology, I think.
This is interesting. I heard of this concept, but I didn't know that it was actually called PhoneBloks.
That's like kind of the end game of this whole process, right? Like a phone that you literally take apart and only put on the parts that you want. But it seems like the primitive stage of that is where we are right now with dongles and attachments and charging cases and all this other stuff that we add to our devices.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all down for that kind of thing. I'd be interested to see where it goes. Yeah, it'd be cool. I'm with Tyler. I don't feel like I use my camera that much. I'd rather have more memory. And I'm stuck with an iPhone, so I don't really have that option.
See, I like the concept of like the PhoneBloks system, which we'll link to in the description, where they're like individual pieces. I guess Motorola has a version of this out now that we'll also link to called the MotoMods that clip onto the back of the phone. And there's one that's a huge speaker. There's one that's a battery. There's one that's a better camera and so on.
Yeah.
But I understand where Apple is right now of like, we're going to minimize the amount of ports and the amount of additional cost to the core products so that we can put all the money into the internals. Like, we can make better processors and better screens and everything like that by eliminating ports.
Mm-hmm.
It's just frustrating that there's no, like, that's a really tough transition until we get the PhoneBloks system, right? Like, the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 7 really feel like phones that you are meant to put in a case, or that you are meant to plug into, you know, some kind of third thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have your thumb that you use as the primary way of using the phone, but then you like plug your phone into a battery pack, or you plug your phone into a speaker, or you plug your phone into something, or you put a case around it to change the color of it. Like, it all just feels like kind of hacked together at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
if that's what they're trying to do.
I mean, could you not make a PhoneBloks system for phones currently? I mean, if you wanted to, maybe it's like if you wanted to actualize it today, you would have a PhoneBloks system with a camera on the back that's a little bit better, kind of similar to Motorola, but like the size of a battery, like an external battery pack for an iPhone or a Droid or something.
I mean, in theory, you could. You would have to get the phone company on board with it. And Motorola's obviously down with it, which is a step in the right direction.
Which, as an aside, I started looking at the PhoneBloks website, and Motorola is the company that was going to work with PhoneBloks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out in September of 2016, the project got canceled by Google and I guess whoever they were working with. So at least from that, for like a mainstream perspective, it's I guess it's kind of had a setback. But I believe the idea is they updated again in September again, and it seems like they're going to at least try to keep it going forward. So that's.
Well, in September of 2016 is also when Google announced the Pixel, which is one of the phones that I wanted to talk about in this discussion because they're calling it the first phone designed for VR. And it has like its own headset that you plug it into as opposed to those cheap like knockoff headsets. It's one specifically built for the Pixel. Is that something people want?
Yes.
No.
I'm surprised, Shaun, that you're the proponent of the VR phone.
I'm not. Okay, so this is. Well, I'm curious why you would say no, Tyler. If you don't mind indulging me before because I think maybe I think you and I both use our phones for different purposes. So sure. Why you don't think it would work?
Well, it's not so much that has to do with it working or not. So VR on a phone. I mean, I think it's definitely a good idea. I believe I'm not quite up to date on how exactly it works, but I assume it's probably some sort of like goggle or something that you like attach to your phone.
Exactly.
Kind of like,
what's it called exactly?
Daydream View.
Okay.
There you go. I think it's a good idea. I mean, just for me and probably like the common person, they probably don't, at least in this stage, probably don't care too much about VR or willing to kind of like dump money into it. I don't know the price point of it either. So I would imagine if it's like under $100, they have a pretty good chance. If it's over $100, probably not going to have a good chance. And it seems like there's this is the first Google phone, right? I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. Yes, to clarify, Daydream View costs $79 on top of owning the Google phone.
And how much is the Google phone itself?
Same price as an iPhone, like $700 without financing.
All right, so $1 billion. All right, great. So at that point, then I would say that the problem is then the phone that is too expensive at the moment, at least for the common person, because I imagine they probably aren't going to just be dropping like $100 version that you can just get if it's, like if you're with a cable company.
Well, yeah, it works just like the iPhone would, where like you can sign up for a 2-year contract and get it for $200.
Gotcha. Okay, well then that certainly makes it better then.
Does that sway you?
I mean, it doesn't sway me personally, but it certainly sways
the public.
I don't know. It probably sways public more. It just feels like it's a very, very niche audience right now. It feels like only like sort of like the most like inside baseball like people that are like really into it, that are like kind of like also sort of developing it at the same time are really into it. Like I know I have a friend that's like really into it. He's like sort of on the cusp of like being like one of the people to really be working on game design and that sort of space. So he's like really into it, and I would imagine like sort of that circle of friends. But it's like outside of that, I don't really know anyone that's that particularly excited about VR or VR on a phone.
I think that we are on like the precipice of something new here and something that's going to be amazing. And the reason I say this is because like there's a Windows store across from me that I pass almost every single day. And you guys have seen those like VR things, right? Like the what are those called? I don't even know.
We've talked about it on the show before, the HoloLens.
Yeah. And like those things are crazy expensive and they're huge and bulky, and like the games on them are primitive at best compared to like any kind of console game or PC game you can get now. And when I think about like a Google Daydream and the ability to have your phone be that particular thing, I think having a phone as a VR console is like the greatest way to get it into the most hands, because you already have the phone and you can start people there. And if it ends up like kicking off, then you have a great product that people are already familiar with. And I think it's just the merging of some more technologies. Like we just talked about Nintendo Switch and how you can have little remotes connected to a screen the size of a phone or a small tablet. Like the technology is out there dispersed between different things. But I think, we might already be looking at a dinosaur when you look at the HoloLens, because if you're not going to drop $5,000 or however much crazy amount of money that thing is, when you can get something for $200, that you already have in your pocket all the time, spend another $80 to have the soft, cushy headset instead of Google Cardboard, and like get a remote control that could be developed through Bluetooth probably very quickly. Not to mention that your phone already has all kinds of sensors all over it to show like what way you're moving and everything. So that's why I'm excited. That's why I kind of want to talk about this, because when I saw Google Daydream, that was the piece that put it all together for me. I was like, wow, this is it. I really think this is what it looks like.
I'm with Shaun on this. I see the merits of both of your viewpoints here and this is kind of like an aside on VR. I agree with Tyler that the people developing for VR right now are most of the people interested in VR, and it does feel very niche. But I think Shaun's right. This is where VR needed to go. Putting it in the phone that people already have is a huge step forward. And there are hundreds of thousands of people all over the country right now who are buying the Google Pixel because they're not iPhone users, they're Android people. And so to get an Android phone direct from the source, and then while you're in the store, the Google person or the Verizon person or whoever can say, hey, and by the way, for $80, we can give you this headset that you can put your phone in. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Absolutely. If I was an Android user, I would have one of these things just for the sake of trying it. Like, it's negligible amounts of money compared to the Oculus or the HoloLens or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. And I think, too, if you're excited about video games, especially like small games on smaller devices, having a VR handset would be amazing for you, because I mean, like Tyler, you and I talked about on the now defunct Shaun Doesn't Play about like how complicated video games are designed and like how expensive they are to make, like how much EA or any of these companies, these bigger companies that makes these larger franchises, doles out to make a big scale game, all these companies, these startups that just pump out apps all the time. That's all they do. If you could create a market to make those kind of games, I don't want to jump on the bandwagon here and call everything a moonshot, because that's been like the word of the past 6 months. But you could like totally change the way so quickly that I think games are played. Like, you might not be playing the newest, greatest thing that you need a console to play or a PC or something, but like you could make a phone game immersive, which would be really cool.
Yeah, like, I mean, you look at a game like Monument Valley.
I was just going to say that.
And how cool would that be as an immersive experience? Or even just some of the simple puzzle games, like non-human-centric puzzle games that are on iOS and Android right now, like these perspective-based puzzles that have 3D modeling and stuff. That would be so cool to be able to look at in virtual reality.
I guess I should clarify that I'm not like, I don't know. I personally don't like VR that much. I don't particularly care about it. But I mean, I guess maybe that's also colored my perspective, that I feel like I don't know, just because I don't know a lot of people that aren't particularly interested in VR, that there isn't like an interest for VR. I don't actually know.
I think you're spot on in saying that the interest is very inside baseball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think that this could be the tipping point.
I don't know anybody who's interested in VR.
I mean, it's like, it feels like if you're already like an Android user or like someone that bought the Pixel, I feel like you're pretty in touch with technology and generally probably more informed than most people that are probably just using the iPhone, because that's the phone to get now.
But going back to this naked robotic core idea.
Right. Yes, let's get back on that.
We've talked about it a lot. We've talked about it a lot with the phone for listener reference, if you're not familiar with the show, we're all Apple people. We have Apple laptops and iMacs and etc. So looking at the new MacBook Pros, regardless of the touch bar or any of the other new stuff with it, how do you feel about these like ports that can be anything? These USB-C Thunderbolt 3 ports.
That's a strong head shake that looks like a no from Shaun.
I don't really care. I mean, to be honest, like my battery stopped working on my laptop, so basically it's finally tethered to the wall. It cannot leave.
So one of the things that they put out with these new laptops is an external battery that's powered via USB-C. Does that change your mind?
No, because I'm gonna get a Chromebook.
Interesting. Tyler?
Shaun's making a switch. He's breaking free from the chains of oppression.
I mean, the thing is, though, like, I use my desktop for everything hard computing that I need to do, which is not that much anymore. And if I don't do it for that, I have a computer at both the places where I go to work. So I feel like my use of anything that's, like, higher end is very limited now.
I think I like it more from the perspective of as a designer than as sort of like the how useful it'll end up being, because I like the idea of one size fits all for everything. It means that, I find a lot of times I have trouble, like if I'm doing like a lot of shit all at the same time, like if I need like a flash drive, I need like a tablet, I need like a mouse, I need like a whatever, I can just have them all kind of lined up. I don't have to, like, maybe I don't need to charge my computer right now, and I have an extra slot that I can use for something else. Like, that's really helpful. But I mean, we're still in that sort of in-between period where it's kind of like, I have to buy all new shit, and it's like, great, I have to spend like an extra like a couple $100 just to sync everything up, which is, if I had a nice cushy desk job where I got paid lots of money and it was very rewarding and all that, I'd be like, yeah, fuck it. I'll just get the Adobe Cloud Suite while I'm at it, But just from like the perspective of like, I would like to make a little bit more money to just like blow like money on a brand new app, like a iMac or a MacBook Pro, and transfer everything over.
Yeah.
Well, and that brings up kind of an interesting discussion that they talked about on ATP as well, is that they make this huge switch on the MacBook Pro, but then the regular MacBook, the iMac, the Mac Mini, and the Mac Pro don't even have this port on them. So any accessories you buy for this thing right now, you can only use with this one computer. So if you have a laptop for work and a desktop at home, or vice versa, you can't use half your stuff with the other computer. And I think that's where the problem with this whole system lies. Is that right now, people re-up their technology so slowly. Like, you buy a new phone every 2 years. You buy a new tablet maybe every 4 years. Maybe. And you buy a new laptop maybe every 4 to 6 if you're a Mac user.
Do phone companies still do the 1 year get a new phone thing?
They do.
Okay. I wasn't sure, because I'm like, I just wait every 2 years. Like,
yeah, you can sign up for the 1 year plans now. But even that, it's like, I don't know. It seems like if you're going to make a switch like this and create all these new ports, which, like Tyler said, as a designer and as a design-minded person, I think it's a great idea. The challenge is, if you don't update every computer you make to do that, like, what's the point? My dream future is that I can walk up to a desk somewhere, like at a coffee shop, and there's one of these USB-C plugs there, like bolted to the wall, that's just for power, and I can plug in, and then I can pull my microphone out of my bag and plug that in to an identical port, and then plug a pair of like high quality studio headphones into another port and sit there and edit this podcast. And then if I need to, move to a different seat, I can unplug everything and rearrange it and have plugs on both sides of the computer that can do both of those things. That sounds amazing to me. Like, I love the idea of being able to shift my workspace around. Like, maybe I want to move my microphone to the right side of the computer this week. I can't do that on my current computer based on where like the cables go and the plugs go. But it would be nice. The challenge is I just don't think we're ready for it. And I don't think dongles are a good solution.
I think it's a gimmick.
To do what? To sell more dongles?
No, to the MacBook Pro is just a way to keep the franchise going.
It certainly feels that way right now.
I mean, it has stereo speakers. I feel like when I look at this thing, looking at Apple's website, that they have to sell it to you with these features because they're running out of excuses not to just make an iPad Pro the only thing that you ever need.
It's not a bad point.
They're just running hot until, like, we're just going to go out and make as many of these things as we can until they just bomb. And then we're just going to, like, say iPad Pro, that's the new one. Like, we'll put in stereo speakers. All right. It's a laptop. Like, I know.
Why do we care about speakers?
All right. Like, we're going to put in touchpads. Bro, iPad's already got that. The trackpad is huge. Dude, the whole iPad is a trackpad. Like, I don't know how much you can say, like, oh, it folds. It has a whole keyboard. It's like you can just get a Bluetooth keyboard. Look at what Windows is doing. The keyboard's already attached in the thing. Like, I don't like. God, it's just prolonging the inevitable. Steve Jobs, come back from the dead and tell Apple to do the right thing, bro. Just come on.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you both like iPad lifestyle at this point? Like, if you could be, you just do your entire life from iPads and not own Macs at all?
Oh, Taylor, that's such a difficult question to answer.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Right? See, that's where it breaks down. You're like, oh, we'll just make an iPad Pro, but could you actually live your whole life on an iPad Pro?
Yes. If it was to what I want it to be, yes. And I don't think I'm, like, putting a stretch out there.
Tyler?
I mean, just for processing power and whatnot, I think that to do a lot of design work, it's usually going to take a little bit more than probably an iPad can probably produce.
The iPad Pro has more processing power than the plain old MacBook right now. See, and all of a sudden the game changes. Yeah, the big 19-inch iPad Pro has like the same amount of processors as a MacBook Pro in it.
The thing is 19 inches?
Or no, I'm sorry, 12.9. I got my numbers confused. There's a 9.7 and a 12.9. I got them mixed up in my head.
I was going to say, damn, that thing is huge. But I love it because it's 19 inches big. Like, that's awesome.
That might be the size of the Surface Studio. Somebody can correct me on Twitter or something. I feel like there was a touchscreen that was 19 inches somewhere. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, I don't know. I love the Mac. I really do. But I agree with Shaun that they're prolonging the inevitable. Everybody knows that we're going to move to touch computing, like almost entirely touch computing in the future. It's just a question of where do we go in between here and then? And so that's kind of where I wanted to like round out this topic is this idea of like you buy a device that is just the core and then you can add any parts onto it you want. You can add a bigger touchscreen or you can add a better camera or a better battery. Like if you were building your ideal device today, what would that look like? What do you want or need out of a device at this point?
Let's see. If I had to build it today, it would come in two sets. You would actually get a set when you purchased it. So it would be like a 17-inch iPad Pro that was like
the pencil, the keyboard, the whole deal.
Well, no, it essentially like would be like crap, a MacBook, but turned on itself. Like they just put the screen on top of the processor, but it would also come with a phone, and essentially it'd be like the same thing, right? So you could leave the big pad at home or take it with you if you needed it, but you had access to everything virtually over the phone. And then you could just kind of, like you were saying with USB-C or through Bluetooth or whatever, you could just buy the options that you wanted. Like if you wanted to have a eyesight camera for your iPad Pro, you just bought that as an extra. If you wanted to have, like a number pad on the side of your thing, you just bought that as your added extra, or a trackpad or something. But essentially what you would get out of the box, done and done, would be this,
like a big screen and a small screen,
right? Like a MacPad and an iPhone. Done and done.
Tyler, where are you at on this?
What is my ideal setup for the future? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like if you could build any setup right now, but you weren't limited to the current hardware.
I would probably. I mean, is this for like? So Shaun said a phone. Is that also?
It can be whatever combination of things you want, because at this point we're taking for granted that all of us are using multiple screens.
Sure.
That's what I want to end. That's one of my big problems.
You don't like having multiple screens?
I don't like it that they don't connect well with one another.
You want it to be completely seamless between the phone and whatever the iPad Mac hybrid is.
Right.
I think that's definitely a big thing, because I mean that's kind of like why I use Facebook Messenger, because I can connect with it literally anywhere on someone else's computer, on my computer, on my iPad, on my phone. You know, I don't need like internet connect. I do need internet connection, but I don't have to I can talk to basically anyone I'm friends with, and that doesn't, that doesn't cause a problem. But let's see. I think if I had an ideal an ideal setup, I think it would be, because I really like the idea of iPads. Now, I was not I feel like everyone had a moment before they had an iPad. They're like, who fucking needs this shit? This is garbage. This is so worthless. But it's helpful in so many ways, because it's your phone the phone size is increasing in size pretty frequently, but for the most part, it's pretty small. But an iPad's useful because it's good for reading, and it's good for video watching. It's good for just sort of just general actually looking at stuff that when you're not crushed for time, you have some time to kind of do what you need. So you want to put up a recipe for something you're working on, stuff like that. It's really helpful. That's kind of also why I really like the Switch, because the Switch is it's going to be able to house multiple things, I think, at once. It's going to be able to be a gaming platform. It's also going to be a web browser. It's going to, it's going to be able to be both a TV console, and a handheld console. So with that being said, I would probably probably just some sort of typing apparatus, just something I could plug in some way that's just kind of sits at my desk all the time. And then probably some way to hook up two sort of iPads, maybe one long ways, maybe one tall, one maybe long, just so I can do sort of maybe different processes, because maybe one is for scrolling a Twitter feed, one is for more art based things. So a dual monitor setup with two sort of iPads, and then one can just be kind of the main base one that I can use mostly as I'm just not really trying to focus. I'm not doing my workflow. I can just have one there, but then also one I can kind of take with me and then go and do other stuff. So maybe that's sort of what would be interesting, is if they could make iPads monitors and have them have two monitors going at the same time that are iPads. I don't know.
I just imagine your workspace being just this wall of tiled iPads.
Right.
It's what Gray and Mike Hurley would call the multi-pad-lifestyle, where you have iPads sheets of paper just stacked up on your desk, like something out of Star Trek. See, for me, I'm going to go in a little bit more radical of a direction, I think.
That's crazy. All right.
I've spent less than a week with my Apple Watch. Bought the Apple Watch for running right before I sprained my ankle. Have yet to take it on a run. Very upset. But having the Apple Watch, I'm really struck by how much time I spent looking at my phone just to check up on things, or just to idly stare at something. And the watch is really good about giving you a tiny little nugget of information, you have a text from Shaun. This is what it says. And if I don't need to respond to that text immediately, I just put my watch back down and keep going. And so for me, I expect the Mac and the iPad, or the desktop and the tablet, to kind of fuse together. And then I really just kind of want the phone to go into the watch, all functions of the phone to go into the watch. And then you just have earpods essentially, or AirPods, I guess they're called, the wireless ones, connected to your watch. That way, if you need a screen, you can go to either your tiny watch screen or your big tablet laptop screen, and everything else is just done through touching the watch and hearing something in your ear. Kind of similar to the movie Her, if you're familiar with that, where they have the little cigarette case size computers and then the earpieces. That's kind of where I want to be where we're not looking at a handheld screen anymore, because I feel like that's the disconnect for me. Like, I can get work done on a tablet or on a laptop or on a desktop, but I don't really get work done on my phone. Like, it's just kind of passing time, you know?
What you're saying is you want an even more robust phone and just a more robust watch. Sorry. And
yeah, I want the Apple Watch to be 4 times more robust than it is now, and use an earpiece.
Now, what if it was just a gauntlet that you just had?
Yeah, why the fuck not?
It just I love to scroll on Reddit on my eye gauntlet.
See, that's it though. You don't scroll Reddit on your watch. And that's why I like the watch. Because when you're out in public with the watch on...
He can't trust himself.
You don't scroll. I think that is part of it. I think I can't trust myself. I think some of us, myself included, have become too, sucked into the scrolling and, constantly checking Facebook, constantly checking Instagram, constantly checking Snapchat. And I'm just kind of I just want to see the information I need and then go back to what I'm doing.
Now, what I really think they should innovate on with the iWatch, the Apple Watch. Did they call it the iWatch? It's an Apple Watch.
Apple Watch.
That's crazy. They just gave up that a long time ago. Now what if you could supposedly use this Apple Watch, then sort of find spirits, ghosts. You could do ghost hunting, and then you could maybe insert things into them, and you could maybe make these ghosts your friends.
Can you see digital touch on your watch?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
It's a dick, isn't it? See, now I can look at the dicks you send me on my wrist. Alright, y'all. You found some internet garbage this week?
Yeah, buddy. Did I find some internet garbage? And by internet garbage, I mean memes that I absolutely love. Those of Uncle Joe, otherwise known as Joe Biden.
Vice President. Weird uncle. Generally awesome dude, Joe Biden.
So
the hero America deserves.
You guys have seen the Joe Biden memes?
Yes, I've seen them. Of course, I've been on the internet this week, so yes, I have.
Are you reading the Joe Biden memes right now?
I am right now.
Man, Joe Biden memes have been so quality this week. Loving it. So
I feel like you've saturated every social media platform that I'm on.
Can you explain to people possibly in the future who are listening to this episode that don't know about the proliferation of Joe Biden memes?
I don't know.
Or maybe people that aren't from the internet?
So, I don't really know the backstory or anything. I just think they're hilarious because I like Uncle Joe. But, Uncle Joe memes kind of sprung up after the election because Donald Trump won. And everybody knows how Joe's kind of this wily guy and he's not afraid to, kind of just say what's on his mind. And so all of these are what I'm assuming are official photographs of President Obama and Joe Biden in the White House or someplace out. And it's this fictional conversation where Joe wants to kind of sabotage the White House before Trump comes, or he's going to speak his mind to Trump. If they were meet on the street, this is what Uncle Joe would say. And I have to find one that's appropriate for me to.
One of my favorites this weekend was it shows Biden and Hillary in the Oval Office. And the first pane is just Biden and it says, "Can we?" And then Hillary says, "No." And he's like, "But I've got it on my phone." And then it shows Hillary looking sad and she's like, "No, Joe, we can't play the Imperial March when he walks in."
My favorite is the one where he replaces all of these soaps with little hotel soaps because he's got tiny hands. He wants to make him feel comfortable.
Nothing like a good Trump has tiny hands joke.
Here's one. Biden, can I put whoopee cushions under all the chairs before he gets here? Obama, Joe, I'm on the phone. Biden muttering, "You didn't say not to."
I feel like
it's just hilarious. Like, it just brightens up my day when I see these.
I feel like the best part about this is that somewhere along the way, we got this persona of Uncle Joe. And I don't know if it's from, like, his demeanor during press conferences or, like, just the way that he speaks or whatever. There are lots of different places where Uncle Joe could have come from, and I'm sure somebody somewhere has done a podcast about the nation's relationship with Joe Biden. I just love that in this time where everybody is so upset, the memers have created this really lighthearted meme. Like, it's not really abusive or hateful. It's just kind of like pranks that your uncle would pull on you when you were a kid.
It's like, and it paints like this really kind of funny side of Joe where you think like you have to write a meme where it's like Joe's standing there and Obama kind of says like he's his little brother, like, "Joe, go find the left-handed screwdriver," and Joe goes like running out the door. You know, like
That's exactly what it's like.
And you just love him because he's just awesome Uncle Joe.
And of course, I think this all originates just from the fact that the vice presidents typically just don't fucking do anything. So it's just like Obama's like, "Oh, I gotta get this stuff done." Joe Biden's just like, "Whatever, man." It's just
whatever, man. The Joe Biden story.
Did you guys see that one? This is probably my favorite one. I've seen it the most, where it's like it's a dialogue between Trump, Biden, and Obama, and Trump's like, "Can I get past?" And Biden says, "What's the password?" And Trump says, "I don't know." And Biden says, "Loser, say what?" And Trump goes, "What?" And Obama says, "Joe." It's just like playground antics. It's hilarious.
Well, and so to compound on all of this, earlier this week, pictures of Joe Biden as like a 20-something emerged. Have you seen these?
I haven't seen them.
There's this picture. I'll pull it up and put links in the Slack. And it's Joe Biden like in Florida or on a beach somewhere. And he's like in his early to mid 20s, and he's a fairly attractive guy for that age. And all of the memes are just like really coy young person Joe Biden. He's like, I don't know. I gotta find a good example.
And to be fair, I feel like it also started from there's a video of how will Obama spend his retirement, and which is generally just like humorous situations Obama's in, and so then it kind of like also has Joe Biden kind of hanging out with him. I feel like that sort of like really reinforced the like the buddy cop vibe of it.
So this image of young Joe Biden, a lot of people are calling him Foxy Joe or Sexy Joe or things like that. The one that I saw was my roommate showed it to me. It's this picture, and then the caption is, "Yeah, baby, of course I'll tell you the Wi-Fi password." It's just like really dumb, like semi-sexual things like that, or like,
oh my god.
I just sent one of the guys that says like, young Joe Biden looks like he had hoes in different area codes. And it's all kind of playing to this image of like, Joe Biden used to be quite the ladies' man, which I think works really well with the Uncle Joe memes. I'm looking at an older Joe Biden meme now where he's like looking across the room at Obama, and it says, "Fish is not stupid. You're stupid. We're in a fight now."
And he's had a rough, I'm glad he has good spirit. He's lived a tough life. He's had a lot of tragedy.
He really has. So what do we think? Joe Biden memes. Meme of the week?
Oh, yeah. Thumbs up.
Yeah, no question.
Slaying it. Uncle Joe is slaying it.
When this comes out, we're going to be like way past Uncle Joe memes, but
already dead.
That's fine.
Yeah, this meme doesn't have a whole lot of shelf life to it, but I'm loving it right now.
It's gonna be a Pepe situation, and it'll turn into a like white nationalist.
No, don't say that.
Don't you jinx it.
That.
Don't you jinx it.
1 week later, ruined.
All right, folks. Time to round out episode 75. Man, we done 75 of these things now.
3/4.
3/4 of the way to 100. All right, Tyler. What shameless plugs do you have?
Hey, everybody. You can find my work at TylerDReed.com. You can also follow me on socials on Instagram and Twitter as TDR Design. Thanks. Love you.
Shaun, have you figured out how to use Snapchat yet?
Kind of.
Snaps, baby.
You haven't opened my Snap from like 3 days ago. Get it together. Where can the people find you if they want to?
They can find me on Twitter at sevans8910. And they can also find me on Snapchat at that same handle, sevans8910, sevans8910.
Maybe someday we'll teach him how to use Snapchat. Old
My
man
God,
yells at ghost icon.
How many pencils can I put in my beard?
Be glad you don't have to watch the video of this podcast anymore, people. You can follow me on Twitter at TC Olmstead. You can like the show and follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. And of course, if you really like us, you can leave us a review on iTunes. Thank you all so much, and we will see you next week with more brunch. I don't mean to cut you off. Shaun, what the hell was that?
So, Ember has a little treat mouse that like wobbles, and you put treats inside of it, and there's little holes on the ends. And I was like, she figured it out like really quick. So I put it up on top of the windowsill to see if she could like, you know, to like step it up a notch. And so she's over there, and she kicked it off the windowsill onto the AC, and that was that big thud. And that's why we were laughing, because she's over there kind of like trying to get the treats out of there without pushing it off the edge again. And it's pretty adorable. Oh, there we go. That one out.